Hey everyone, and welcome to Chef AJ Live. I'm your host, Chef AJ, and this is where I introduce you to amazing people like you who are doing great things in the world that I think you should know about. As often happens with this show, one guest is referred by another guest. Today is no exception, and my guest today is Rachel Detroit, who, interestingly enough, is broadcasting from Detroit, and she's going to be telling her story how she reversed the impact of multiple sclerosis with a plant-based diet. Please welcome her to the show. I can't wait to hear. I love success stories.
Yes, thank you for having me. I'm super excited to share my experience.
Yeah. So when were you diagnosed with MS?
Yeah, so actually I just had my 3-year MS anniversary a few days ago. And so I was 28 years old, and I was feeling like I was having all these symptoms. And I was feeling uncomfortable and weird. And then I went to the hospital. Do you want me to jump into the story, or did you
Yeah, no, I'd love to. I'd love to hear the story.
Okay, cool. Okay, I'm like, all right, should I keep going? So,
Okay.
so basically, I was uncomfortable. I started having all these symptoms. I started to lose my balance. Hearing was like I couldn't hear well, so I was going to ear doctors, and my seeing was weird. My eyes were twitching, and then I eventually saw a neurologist. And one day at 7 a.m. in the morning, he gives me a call and he says, "Your MRI is a hot mess." Not in those words, but he said, "Your MRI has a lot of disease activity. You need to go to the emergency room and get on steroids. You have MS." And I was 28 years old.
Wow.
Yeah.
That must have been something. Had you ever heard of MS before?
I have someone in my dad's side of the family who has MS, and anything I've ever heard about MS has always been like this extreme, like it's a problem, like MS is like a heavy disease. And when I was told that I had a heavy burden of disease on my brain, it scared me.
Wow. So what did they tell you to do?
Yeah, so I go in the hospital. I'm in the hospital, and then I'm like freaked out and I'm scared. And to be honest, most of all, I'm mad because I was supposed to go out and party that day. I lived like a very sedentary lifestyle. I partied, I drank a lot, I used substances, I was always stressed, and that was my concern when I first got there. I was like, well, I'm supposed to go to this football game, and like, what am I gonna do? And so I got there, and immediately it was like all these tests, and it was like beep beep beep, and all these like different tests, different medications, and this and that. And I was really concerned that, and they like give you a pamphlet of like all these like really serious medications. So they give you this pamphlet of all these serious medications and all of these like side effects, and it's kind of like, which one do you want to choose? And I was like, oh my God, like, I'm not sure. I was like, I don't know what to do. So I'm in the hospital for like a week's time on these steroids. And I like have this thought in my brain, and I'm like, I can't do this. I can't, like, I don't want this. I don't want to do this for the rest of my life. Like, I can't be, like this disease, I won't let it take over me. I was like, I can't. So I couldn't even walk for like 90 seconds. I couldn't walk. I couldn't stand. Like, standing was really hard for me. Just, and I'm 28 years old, and I'm a math teacher, and most of my job is like standing and putting on a show and entertaining the kids. And I'm like, well, I can't even stand for like 2 minutes. So I don't know how I'm going to have a job, let alone like clean my apartment. So from there, I saw like neurologists. I went to a pretty like up there neurologist in the Midwest. I don't want to mention. I don't know if I can mention where I went. Or so I went to the Cleveland Clinic, which is a pretty like up there MS, MS place. So I went to the Cleveland Clinic, and I was instructed to get on a medicine called Ocrevus, which is like a second line treatment. I think, I don't really know, but like basically my disease activity was too much for the first line of basic treatment. So they're like, let's hit it hard. So I did take medication for a short period, but it didn't work for me in terms of my mental health. So I knew that I would be able to like change my life. I read research. I read a lot of Roy Swank, who followed people who had MS for 30 years. And when they followed a whole food or a plant-based diet and made lifestyle changes, 95% of them did not see any disease progression. So I knew there was something there. So I immediately decided, like, well, let me do what everyone else is doing, or what everyone else is not doing, basically. Let me try this, and I'm just gonna eat plants. And I loved meat so much. So I went with it. So I started to change my lifestyle. So I went on a whole food plant-based diet immediately, like right after diagnosis. I decided, okay, I'm gonna go on a whole food plant-based diet. I started meditating every single day and every single night. I started to make sure I exercised every single day and every single night. And it was so new for me. It was very new for me to make this commitment to myself, because I was so used to, my commitment was seeking outside things. It was seeking the party life. It was seeking who thinks that I'm cool, or where can I fit in, or how can I show up? And this was the first time in my life that I thought, well, what can I do for me? How am I gonna take care of myself? So that was really new for me.
How did you even hear about Roy Swank? Because that's a name you don't hear very often.
No, you've never heard of him?
Oh, no, I've heard of him, but unless you've had MS or, maybe work with Dr. McDougall, it's not like a name that people throw out a lot,
Yeah. Yeah, I learned about him. There's this group called Overcoming MS, OMS Lifestyle, and I learned about him there. And he's a big deal to me in my recovery with MS, in reducing what happened to me, because, I went from not being able to walk, and now I go for miles. I can run a mile. I take jogs. I lift a lot of weights. And I couldn't imagine that like 3 years ago. I would have never imagined being able to do that.
Yeah. But before you changed your diet to help your recovery, had you heard about a plant-based diet at all? Maybe not necessarily for MS, but just in general.
I would hear like about vegans. I don't mean to do quotes, but like people who are vegan, but it was just like a fad. Like in my brain, it was just like, oh, these are vegans. Like they're so different. They're vegans. So not really, no.
That's so interesting. When you first got diagnosed, did you talk to your family member that had it to ask any questions?
Yeah, I asked a lot of questions and he was really supportive. Although the route that I am taking, which is whole food plant-based eating to mitigate disease, is like looked at as a very extreme way to handle it. Like what I'm doing is very radical because I'm not taking medicine, because I'm wanting to like eat and change my lifestyle. It's looked at as like quite radical.
Yeah, but all the treatment, that's not radical.
No, that's not radical. One of the side effects were like, you could like get a PMI in your brain, which is basically like something crazy happens in your brain and then you die. Or like, and I'm like, oh, or maybe you don't die. I don't know if I'm being dramatic, but you lose like functioning, like it's very serious. And to me, that's really scary.
I would say so. Did you literally change your diet overnight?
Yes, I did. I said, done. I was like, there is no way that I could, like, what else am I going to do? What else is there to do?
Was it difficult?
A lot of people ask me that one, and I say no. And I respond with like, the reason for it not being difficult for me is because nothing in the world tastes better than walking. you know, like nothing. You couldn't give me any food that tastes better than walking.
I love it. I've never heard it phrased that way. Yeah. I think a lot of times people don't realize, and what you said is very profound.
Yeah. It was a big bite to swallow. And, I spent a lot of days reflecting, and I spent a lot of time like crying, processing, being afraid. But then I realized, what's the point of all that? There's no reason to be afraid. There's no reason to, it never helped me. Fear never helped me. Worry never brought me anywhere. So I just decided, I think MS has been like such a blessing, because now that I have this plant-based diet, not only am I mitigating MS, I'm reducing heart disease, diabetes, high blood pressure, cholesterol, cancers. I feel fabulous. I feel really good.
And you were pretty young with the diagnosis. At what age do most people get diagnosed, Rachel? Do you know? Is there any statistics?
Yeah, it's usually, it is kind of young. It's like usually between like 30, 35. I think that's like a rough age that people will get it. But also, like, I know a lot of people who are older who get it.
That's interesting. Susanna wants to know, did you see the documentary Cold Blue with Sarai Stancic?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I love Dr. Stancic. Her book is right there on display. I sure did see it. It's fabulous.
Have you been back to any of your original doctors?
Oh, actually, I did go back. And the last time I went, I was told that I was very, in like maybe softer terms, but not really, but that I was like quite negligent of my health, because I was choosing to not go back on medication. And that, that made me feel really bad, because I felt like, if anything, I go to bed at 9:30. I eat super healthy. I exercise. I meditate. I don't drink or drug or anything. So if anything, I feel like I'm very cognizant of my health, not negligent. So I have been. And then I found a new neurologist, more in line with my values.
That's fantastic. Mandy wants to know, when you said you exercise and meditate, what kind of each do you do?
I like Zazen meditation, which is usually just like silence. So I'll do like 10 minutes, sometimes silence, but I also will go onto YouTube or an app like the Daily Calm, and I just do like some meditation on there. And then yoga, for me, it's better to do yoga every single day for like 10 to 15 minutes than to do yoga one day a week for 1 hour, or 2 days a week for 1 hour. I've also studied, when I was first diagnosed with MS, I went like a little, not extreme, but a little extreme. I was like, well, I got to learn everything about physical fitness. So I became a personal trainer. And then I was like, well, I also need to know everything about nutrition. So I got certified in nutrition. And I learned that it's a lot better to do like 10 minutes every day than to do 1 hour, like twice a week.
Consistency.
Yeah.
That makes sense. So want to tell us like the kind of things you eat now and maybe what you ate before?
Yeah, for sure. So so initially I would eat the standard American diet. I would, and I always was working. I worked a lot. So I would eat burger. I loved burgers. I loved fries, like fried food, like all the food that is not conducive to a healthy lifestyle. I liked it. Like I would go with my friends and I would spend $20 on fast food and I would eat it all. And that's a lot of food for one person. And now what I eat now is I start eating at 8 a.m. and I stop eating at 3 p.m. So I intermittent fast from 8 to 3. I usually eat a big bowl of oats. And then I eat like a snack, like a post-breakfast snack. I call it my second breakfast. It's usually like sweet potatoes and some type of vegetable with it. I always make sure I have greens. I even put greens under my oatmeal. You know, I am a green freak. Wherever I can put the greens, I put them. So then I'll have my little post-breakfast snack, and then I'll eat lunch. It's usually something with beans, like a soup or a chili, and I always put greens under it. You know, wherever I can get some added fiber and added greens, it's really important, like the antioxidants in the greens. They make me feel good. Like I feel it in the MS symptoms. I feel them go away when I eat more greens. And then
I love that. It's like by any greens necessary.
yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah. And then for dinner, I'll have like, sometimes I eat chickpea flour pancakes. That's a weird dinner, but I really like those. But really just something basic. And I try to keep my dinner smaller than the rest. I really try to front load, like my breakfast, my oatmeal is really large. And then I taper down, because in order for cellular regeneration to occur, and that's like really important for me with MS, you know, I want to give my body a break in the afternoon, like during the evening hours, so it's not digesting all this food.
Yep.
But I do eat a lot.
That's fantastic. Do you still have any MS symptoms?
Yeah, I do. And they only come up when I don't take care of myself. Well, I shouldn't say I don't take care of myself. So there's like, when I don't sleep well, I'll get like tingles in my finger, and I'll notice like my balance is a little bit questionable. When I eat past 3 p.m., when I eat past 4 p.m., usually, like it's usually between 3 and 4, I try to stop at 3. I'll notice the tingles, they'll come back. If I'm super, super tired, they show up. But overall, like most days, it's like I don't even realize that it's there, you know?
Fantastic. Victoria says, have you ever been tested for Lyme disease? She got MS after Lyme and numerous tick bites.
Yeah, I did get tested for Lyme disease. Part of me, in the beginning, I was like, I hope it's Lyme disease. Because like I think I thought that it was like a better outcome, but no, I don't have Lyme disease.
Good. Let's see. Dina says, did you watch a documentary called MS Hope? It's about MS reversal through diet, but it's not 100% whole food plant-based completely, and how the MS Society didn't care about nutritional care.
I did see that documentary. And I have, I guess I'll share a little bit about my opinion about like other diets there's a lot of diets in the MS community, and a lot of them are very, like you can eat this much meat and only this fruit, but not these beans, and make sure you don't eat gluten, and you can, you know, and those type of diets to me are a little bit too, there is no overwhelming body of evidence that says those are the diets, you know? And if we look at a whole food plant-based diet, you know, there is a ton of evidence that states that this is going to reduce chronic disease. Yeah, so that's kind of my opinion on, you know, those diets.
But people that choose the medication route, long term, aren't there just as many bad side effects to the medication as the disease?
You know, I don't advocate against medication. I think it's such a touchy thing for people. Although I think it's something that you really have to decide, you know, because some of the medications haven't been out for that long to know, you know, what could happen. But yeah, there are definitely some side effects that could be questionable, you know, as with most medication, you know, even like cholesterol medication or.
Yeah. So Gina and Mandy want to know, are you still a math teacher?
No, I'm not a math teacher anymore.
Wow. You're a coach, right? Health coach.
Yeah. So I quit teaching math. I taught for 8 years, and I realized with MS, anything you can do to mitigate stress, to reduce stress, to get it out of your life, you have to do it. It's like non-negotiable. So I knew that teaching middle schoolers was not for me. And so now I'm a lifestyle coach. I teach people how to basically have the same lifestyle that I have to optimize their health, reduce chronic disease, and things like that.
Do you work specifically with people with MS or just anybody?
Anybody and everybody who wants to optimize their life, make a change,
I'm guessing you work virtually.
Yeah, I work virtually. Yep.
That makes sense. Well, that must be, so that's not as stressful as middle schoolers then.
No, and it's super rewarding. And back to like how I said, I think MS, like it's a blessing for me because now I can live this life where I'm being of service in this other way, where I can like give back, what was given to me, which is this like lovely lifestyle.
That's amazing. How often do you have to get checked, or do they do regular checkups for this, like check certain markers?
So initially when I was going to the one neurologist, I would go every 6 months. And that is like, for me, was extremely stressful, go every 6 months and get an MRI. And, it's a lot of pressure. Now I go once a year and that's what works for me, although there are some folks who go a lot more than that.
Yeah, that's great. Well, you look great and I bet you feel great.
Yeah, I've never felt this healthy in my life. Even before I had MS, when I was even younger, I never felt this good on a daily basis. I never like had this much energy. I never, and it's that plant-based diet. It's miraculous.
That is amazing. Mandy says, what is the most common reason people seek out your help as a lifestyle coach? And this is all done online, right? Just to be clear.
Yeah, it's all online. Folks will come to me. So we look at these 6 aspects of lifestyle. Usually when their life is out of balance, they don't feel good. And we're talking like their sleep hygiene, their substance intake, their nutrition, their physical movements off, their stress management, and their social connection. So we examine those things and we get them a routine. And the thing is, it's all rooted in research. So it's like, I'm not just saying like, oh, well, perhaps maybe you could do this. It's like, well, these are the things to optimize and reduce chronic illness. And because I'm trained in like holistic nutrition, it's like, how can we use nutrition to mitigate and reduce disease? So that's what I do with people. But also some people that I work with are just like, they want to get out of their job and they just want help in their life to feel better.
Did you have to get any special training, or just the fact that you're already a teacher was?
I did take courses, and I'm in another course right now. But I also, yep.
Nice.
But I've also had a coach, so I see the value. Like when I was first diagnosed with MS, I had a coach, and he told, he had to believe in me. He believed in me so much. I would show up and I'd be a mess. I saw him in person. I would just be a mess. And he believed in me so much, even with my, I like couldn't stand up for that long and I was limping and everything was off, and I couldn't feel my arm, and he just believed in me so much. And it was so helpful. So I really do believe in the value. And if I didn't have him at that time, I don't know if I would be on this same path. He lifted me until I could lift myself.
Nice. Yeah, it's great when you work with someone. That is very cool. Do you ever speak to people with MS, like give talks or?
Yeah, I've done a couple different like YouTube things. I've done a couple different podcasts. I joined like an MS networking group. That's kind of the extent of it so far. I'm just 3 years in, so I'm kind of new to this world a little bit. The first 2 years I was just working on like getting myself well, like getting myself to this place of confidence and like healing. And and also like healing like MS brings you down. You know, if already my self-worth was kind of low because I drank a lot, and then MS, I was like, oh my God, who's going to like me now? Now I have this disease. So I've been spending the time 2 years, like really just getting well. So I'm kind of just getting my feet wet into that.
Very cool. I see a few questions in the chat. Here's one. I just saw it. Where did it go? Okay. I love when you guys put the question marks first because it makes it easier for me to find your questions. Okay, I saw it and it went. What do you enjoy most about being a lifestyle coach?
Ooh, you know, I love that I can help folks like see what they can't see, you know, and like help them see that things in their life that to them might seem like a really big problem, it really isn't a problem. It's just, we just have to figure out a different way to get you to where you want to be. And also another of my, I love so much of it. Another thing that I really love is when I see my clients having breakthroughs and having their success. You know, it's like nothing feels better for me than for them to feel better. Their success is my success. Their health is my health.
Nice. That's wonderful. I just saw another one. Oh, Eileen says, what percentage of your clients have MS?
At this moment, none. You know, I have a couple folks who have like high cholesterol, arthritis, chronic pain, and some folks don't have any disease at all.
Nice. And Randy says, where do you find your clients? I'm guessing maybe they find you.
You know, that's kind of how I roll. You know, folks can seek me out. I'm here, I'm available. I don't seek out, but I'm always willing to help. I have a Facebook page that a lot of people find me on Facebook.
Nice. Let's see. Amy says, you're very enthusiastic and positive. Oh, here's an interesting question from Cynthia. Have you ever tried essential oils for MS?
You know, I don't like scents that much. So just to be honest, I don't like, no, so not much. I try to do without, you know, for me, less is more. I don't want to be dependent on a whole bunch of things. I want to be as simple and as basic as possible.
What you mean? What is the age range of your clients? Dina wants to know.
Oh, any age. The only qualification to work with me is that you have the desire to improve and optimize the quality of your life. That is the only qualification. You don't have to have a disease. You don't have to, you know, there's no qualification. You just have to want to improve, make a change, and have breakthroughs, really.
Do most of your clients end up going plant-based or mostly plant-based?
You know, I encourage it. That's the only thing I teach. So I give them like my recipe books and techniques and everything. And I only teach plant-based, although some of them still eat, you know, their animal protein and products, but I don't condone it.
Yeah, good. Let's see. Dina says, what are your recommendations for people with high cholesterol and high blood pressure?
Yeah, definitely. You know, my recommendation to start with everything is to reduce the animal protein, right? And we always want to reduce the amount of saturated fat. So we're talking like, you don't want to eat a ton of nuts, you know, although they're plant-based, you're not going to want to eat a whole bunch of nuts, but reducing that saturated fat and really just going with the fiber, high fiber, high fiber, high fiber.
Yeah. Well, speaking of fiber, there's a question about juicing, which doesn't have fiber. And the question was from Kelly, do you do any juicing as part of your routine?
I did when I first was diagnosed, although now I don't juice at all. I'd rather eat all the fiber and I'd rather just, so no, because my theory is nothing good taken out. And this is a Dr. Michael Greger like quote. Nothing good taken out and nothing bad added in. So, when we juice, although it's like, it's fine, it's not terrible, but so much good is taken out when we juice.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a good quote, but I like your other one. Nothing tastes as good as walking feels.
Yeah. That's a thing. And that's my favorite. And when I say that to people, they look at me like this girl's something else. I'm like, yeah, you have no idea.
Yeah, I love it. I just, that is amazing. I'm just seeing, hey, you should do a TED Talk. I've known people have done TED Talks for rheumatoid arthritis, so maybe you can do one on MS.
Yeah, I would love to.
Yeah. Elisa says, Rachel is a badass. Her story is very inspiring. Have you told any of the plant-based doctors about your journey?
I've talked to Dr. Sarai Stancic before. But that's kind of it.
Wow, that's cool. Do you use an Instant Pot? Everybody has to have an Instant Pot, in my opinion.
I had one and I gave it to my mom. So I'm so simple, Chef AJ. I use a crock pot a lot. But I try to keep it so simple with everything I do because I am such a go-getter. Like I'm always on the move. I'm like, what can I eat that's simple? I like making plant-based burgers. I like making oats a lot. I love sweet potatoes. Chop, 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 bake them, and they're ready to rock,
Yep. Gina says, I wish her the best in her MS journey. Very nice. Let's see what else. Yeah, a couple of people on this broadcast have MS and they're doing well with it, like you. Oh, do you like to do sports?
I used to play a lot of soccer. So it depends on what people say are sports. I love lifting weights. I love doing yoga. I love running. I love riding my bike. I'm not so much into the contact sports anymore because it's just like, I don't want to let anyone to like hurt me or like step on my feet or push me or like, but that's not because of MS. That's just because I'm 31 years old and I don't want someone to clobber me.
I don't blame you. Gina says, what MS network do you belong to?
I just like the group. I do Overcoming MS. They have a Facebook group. It's called Overcoming MS Lifestyle Support. And I would say that social connection is so imperative for healing disease because like disease, especially one like MS, it is so isolating because what you think, like if you Google MS, it's like doomsday. It's like you're going to end up in a wheelchair. If you Google multiple sclerosis and click images, you'll see like, you'll see things that you don't want to see really, or like you don't want for yourself perhaps. So there's really, there's a lot in that social connection piece.
Yeah, that's what I hear for everything, not just MS, for everything, any kind of lifestyle disease.
Yeah, definitely.
Victoria says, do you use any herbal protocols?
I'm not sure what that means.
Okay, maybe you could clarify the question, Victoria, and I'll go on to the next one. Well, I think I know the answer because you said you're very simple. Dina says, what's your favorite cookbook?
I don't really use many cookbooks, so I don't have one either. I write cookbooks. I've written two, but really my thing is like, if it's got like 10 ingredients or less, I want to make it. And that's my role here. Like, I don't want to add a bunch of stuff that I probably don't even have in my, it's just like 10 ingredients or less. The simpler, the better. The simpler we eat, the healthier we are. I really do believe that.
Yeah. Do you have any family or friends that are also whole food plant-based?
More and more, I am starting to acquire friends. I have 3 MS friends and a couple more, but 3 main homegirls. who also have MS, who also eat whole food, plant-based, but no family members, not really.
Okay. And Layla says, I'm not really familiar with MS. Can you talk about what would have happened to you if you didn't choose the whole food plant-based diet?
Yeah, MS is a degenerative neurological disease. And so what happens is your immune system attacks itself. So it attacks the myelin sheath in your body, and you just you start losing your abilities, because I guess you just start losing your abilities. So a lot of people will face like disease progression in terms of their walking, or their hands don't work as much. And for me, I faced like I had to build a lot of strength, like walking in a straight line. I had to rebuild all of that, like my walking. I still, I went to physical therapy, but perhaps if I didn't radically change my diet, perhaps the outcome could have been that this disease would have progressed and I would have had disability in terms of walking, or some people have like functioning with their speech, that, and their sight, all types of things like that.
Here's a wonderful question. Do you find eating out a challenge?
So no, and I'll tell you why. Because I have learned that going out to eat, other than the fact I don't really enjoy it, I don't like seek out to do it, but I have found that now I have shifted my perspective. When I go out to eat, it's not because I'm going to get a beautiful meal. It's not because I want to go out to eat something splendid. It's because I'm going out to eat to spend time with certain folks, to enjoy their company. So I just readjusted why I go out to eat. But I always will create. I will go out to eat and I will create my own salad, and it ends up being like $25, because I'm like, can you please add this, some avocado. I also want you to make a tahini dressing for me. Can I tell you how to make the dressing? Please. It's just, and then they're like, okay, here's like a $28 salad. And then they bring it to me, and then it's like small. And then I'm like, oh my God. So.
I know you pay a lot for a lot less food. Do you have any pets?
No, I don't. Because I mitigate stress as much as possible.
Oh, so you find pets to be stressful?
Yes.
Oh, see, and I think they're the opposite. I think they help reduce stress.
So then I would ask you, well, who's taking them to the bathroom? Who's cleaning their poop? Who's taking them to the doctor?
Well, me, but it's a pleasure, I just love, I can't imagine, especially this pandemic, without my little Bailey, like, to me, but that's okay. But you recognize, for you, that would be stressful. But for me, it's the exact opposite.
Yeah.
Wow. Oh, so Victoria clarifies, for herbal protocol, she meant various herbal tinctures.
No, I don't do any herbal tinctures. I don't do medical marijuana. I know that's not an herbal tincture, but it's herbal too. I don't do any herbal anything.
Nice. What's your favorite plant-based book?
Right now I'm rereading How Not to Die by Dr. Michael Greger. It's like one of my pastimes. I've read What's Missing from Medicine by Dr. Sarai Stancic. Those are like on my rotate right now. And then I also really like reading Fiber Fueled by Dr. Bill.
Dr. Will Bulshewitz. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. It's a hard name. Once you learn to say it, it's easy, but at first it's a mouthful. Yeah. Dr. Will B. Dina says, what plant-based doctor do you follow the most, food-wise?
Dr. Michael Greger, for sure.
Yeah. Diana says, have you ever tried hypernourishment?
No, I have never tried it.
Nice. And that says, I must shift my thoughts about eating out as well. I don't like restaurants. I think once a year, maybe. I don't think I have gone at all since the pandemic. Before that, it was once a year. So they're not my jam. Let's see if I can find find any more questions here. Yeah, Dina's saying MS Hope is a good documentary to watch to see how indifferent the MS society can be. It's interesting that they don't like promote Roy Swank at all. They don't seem to even want to know about him, do they?
No, they're not super focused on nutrition. They'll, a lot of, and not in particular the MS Society, but a lot of like physicians or groups or that are not like educated on nutrition almost avoid it completely and will just say, do the Mediterranean diet. That's a good diet to use.
Well, if it helps them, but it's amazing how, they've done studies at OSHU, I believe, on MS and diet.
Yeah, there's enough studies on chronic disease, on MS, on that, and there's enough people who are like living proof of what a plant-based diet can do for you.
Yeah, whether it's MS or other chronic diseases, why do you think people are so not willing often to change their diet and lifestyle?
This is a good one. I think a lot of it has to do with our conditioning. We're conditioned to believe that we need this like absurd amount of protein, and the only way that you can obtain it is by eating like large quantities of steak, and that is completely false. People have asked me like, well, where do you get your protein? Broccoli, flax seeds, hemp hearts, legumes, nuts and seeds. And it's like, it's like this idea that we have to eat. And also I think people are reluctant to change because food is comforting. Food is, a lot of folks will seek out food. And this is what I work with a lot of my clients about too, is like food is it's like an addiction. It's something that we seek out for comfort. It's a coping mechanism. So when I work with my clients, we talk about substance intake, and I also talk to them about using food to cope. And I think people are uncomfortable with like releasing that from their brain, because how are they going to cope? And what they don't realize is that plant-based food is so beautiful, leaves you feeling so good, and is so nourishing.
Yep. Well, speaking of nourishing people, a lot of them are talking about this hypernourishment. I guess it's Dr. Brooke Goldner's protocol. She had lupus, and they're asking you would you consider looking into it? And Gina says, please tell her that the hypernourishment smoothies from Dr. Goldner were life-changing for her, and she has MS as well.
Yeah, I'm open to everything.
Cool. Do you control the amount of fruit that you eat, and what is your favorite fruit?
I do not control the amount of fruit that I eat. Although, when I only eat from 8 a.m. to 3 p.m., you can only fit so much food in there, and I do try it, like, but you can only fit so much in there. My favorite food lately is mango. Although without bananas, I don't know how I would eat ice cream. So that would be, I think like mangoes and bananas are pretty high up there for me, because I am an ice cream addict.
That's nice. Even though it's cold where you are sometimes.
Oh, I love being cold.
No way. And I'm we're opposite. I love being hot. So Julia, your friend who actually referred you to the show, Chef Julia Dunaway, who's been on and is going to be on again, says, ask Rachel about her daily inspirational Facebook Live posts. She encourages people every day and gives so much of herself doing cooking demos for free.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Thanks for bringing that up, Julia. So on my Facebook page, you can look it up. It's Rachel, Rachel, Detroit coaching. It's on Facebook, and I get on there every day and I coach for about like 5 to 10 minutes on like these important topics about lifestyle, how to overcome our barriers, how to overcome obstacles, what plant-based nutrition is, how to eat whole food plant-based, the importance of physical movement, the importance of adjusting your substance intake, stress management. So I get on there and I coach for about 5 to 10 minutes every weekday. And then also every Saturday I do a free live Facebook Live cooking show, and it's a meal prep. So like last week we did plant-based black bean burgers. This week we're going to do some chickpea burgers. And the point is to create food that is accessible, right? So for plant-based eating, we want it to be accessible. We want it to be available. So it's quick and convenient for us.
Yeah, absolutely. Struthy wants to know, can you tell in advance if you're going to feel unwell?
No, I just, with MS, it's like I'm learning to live in the moment, right? And I'm also learning that like, I'm just like everyone else. Like if someone sleeps poorly, they pretty much don't feel awesome, right? So for me to say like, well, I slept bad. I used to get in these cycles, these thought cycles. I slept bad. I'm going to have a terrible day and I'm going to feel bad. And it's like, well, everybody who sleeps bad feels bad. I mean, not everybody, but like a lot of people. So no, I don't know in advance. I just kind of try to live for the moment.
So you're talking about mindfulness.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, that's good stuff. Let's see. Mandy says, I'd like for you to talk about that, not using food to cope.
Yeah, I'd love to talk about that one. So for my whole life, I'll share my experience with it. My whole life, food was this coping mechanism, and I used to be, and I don't think weight is like the ultimate, like if I say I used to be 200 something pounds, but like to say that, and then you see me now, I used to be that. So what does that mean? It means that I used food in this way, like I was overeating, right? Because that's what, and so I would like, anytime I would feel bad, I would either drink or eat a lot, because by putting food in, it like provided this feeling of being full because I was empty inside. I was sad, and it like fills up these holes, this emptiness that I had. Right. So I would cope with food. Like if I'm stressed out, I eat, because what it does is that in your brain, it like sends off these like serotonin boosts in your head, especially if you're eating like sugar or processed food or like things that, not real food. That's what I would call it. Foods that aren't real. And even like after I went plant-based, I noticed I was still doing it. Like I would eat why am I eating like 6 corn tacos? Even though it's whole food plant-based, what do you mean 6? And I do eat a lot in general, but it's not because I'm feeling bad. It's because my body says it's hungry. So it's just learning the difference of like, am I eating because I'm uncomfortable, or am I eating because my body needs nourishment? I need energy to keep going,
Mm-hmm. That's great. Are you sensitive to heat? And if so, how do you control it?
I can be sensitive to heat. And so how do I control it? I try not to get too hot. Some people will wear like cooling vests and things of that nature. I don't. I just, I'll wear like tank tops and shorts, and I try to take my mind away. Like it's not that I don't want to be Rachel with MS, because it's a part of my journey. I have so much respect for this disease. But I don't want to live every minute as like, oh, I'm this way because I have MS. It's hot, and because I have MS, then my body's going to function weird. It's almost like I just want to, like, I want to give it space. Like I want to say, MS, you're here, you're in my life. I care about you. I love you. I want to protect you. But we don't have to be like attached at the hip,
Yeah, that's great. Alayla says, how much weight did you lose?
Let's see. So it depends. So I think at my like lowest weight, probably 60-ish pounds. And so but I fluctuate, but between like 50 to 60 pounds. Yeah.
Wow, that's fantastic. Um, any chance of reversing MS damaged bodies? Is there hope for an already wheelchair bound person?
Oh yeah. Yep. And it starts with a belief, starts with a thought, a belief that you can do it. And then you take those thoughts and you turn it into action. So what actions are we going to take? We're going to change what we eat to a whole food plant-based diet. We're going to exercise every day. And it doesn't matter if you're not going to get up and run miles, and you have to be okay with it. What you're going to do is you're going to start lifting weights. You're going to, in your chair, you're going to start doing leg exercises in your chair, because we have neuroplasticity in our body. And what that means is we're going to create all these new nerve connections in our body. And your body will start working again. And what you don't realize is that your body wants to be healthy. Our bodies want to heal. They want to be healthy. They want to be taken care of. And if we give them the opportunity to heal and to grow and to get stronger, it takes persistence and commitment, and you can do it.
That's cool. Dina says, do you steer clear of alcohol?
Absolutely. Yeah. 3 years, no alcohol. Since I was diagnosed, I did not pick it up since. And to me, I see it as poison. Try to do without.
Yeah, absolutely. PJ says, love, love, love Rachel's Facebook Live coaching. So many rich topics filled with wisdom. And Lisa says, do you have a YouTube channel for the folks that don't do Facebook? Because there's an ever-growing population.
Yeah, I do. It's you can type it in. It's Rachel Detroit Coaching. Yeah.
Nice. Let's see.
And then if folks wanted to send me an email, it's racheldetroitcoaching@gmail.com.
And all that stuff is right below in the show notes. If they're watching on YouTube, they can see it.
Oh, my God.
If you feel tired, do you push yourself or rest? I bet I know the answer.
I rest, but I do sometimes overdo it because I'm a human. I always want to achieve, but then I'm like, no, take it down.
Nice. Oh, good. This is just very, very inspiring. I mean, just even the weight loss story on its own could be very inspiring, with the fact that I don't know if you can say reverse, but reversed many or most of the symptoms is very encouraging.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, maybe you could be you can go back to that original doctor and say, hey, look at me now.
And I don't even know if he would probably still think that I'm doing the wrong thing, because my response from him was, I'm really sorry to hear that. And it's like,
It's just, I wish the medical community was a little bit more open to this, but they don't learn it in medical school. And if it's not in the book, how can they teach it? Right.
Right. And that's important too, I think, is finding a medical team that's within your values. So now I have a plant-based physician that I see. I see a functional medicine doctor who's also plant-based. I will only go to plant-based doctors now, because it's we have to have similar values, and we have to be a team. If we're going to formulate a team, we got to be on the same team. And my neurologist is not plant-based, but she's so supportive with what I'm doing, even though she's not plant-based. She supports me, and she says, oh, I've seen a ton of people who have done similar to you and have had positive outcomes. So you can do it.
Wow, that's fantastic. But I agree with you. If at all possible, see a plant-based / lifestyle medicine doctor, because it's a whole different experience.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Tiffany says, Rachel, what other delicious cooking classes are on the horizon? Your meals never disappoint.
Yeah. What's on the horizon? Well, this Saturday, we're going to make chickpea curry burgers, and those will be pretty good. On the horizon, I don't have that many are on the horizon, to be honest. That's the next one. That's the next best one.
You mentioned a couple of your doctors are plant-based. Were you able to find them at the Cleveland Clinic?
No, they're actually local to Detroit. They're a couple of, 10 miles away from my home here, which is super good.
Well, that's wonderful.
Yeah.
Nice.
No one at the Cleveland Clinic was that I saw was plant-based.
It's funny because I have your Facebook page open because, I've been putting the links in, and you said you don't have pets, but there's a picture of you, a beautiful picture with you and what looks like a golden retriever.
Oh yeah, that was someone that I dated, their dog, and I love golden retrievers. So here's my thing. I do want a pet and I do want a dog, but or a cat. I don't know about cat, either one. But I think I need like a partner in crime to do this with, like I don't
to co-parent. I know what you mean, because if I had to do it all by myself, I just think the rewards are so great. They just are. Well, you are a very inspirational person. I'm guessing that you're a remarkable coach as well, because it's just everything you say makes so much sense.
Yeah, I would say that I'm a pretty darn good coach. I love doing it.
Well, you're walking the talk, so you're not telling your clients to do anything that you haven't done or doing yourself, I would imagine.
Right, absolutely. And that's another thing that I learned. If I'm telling people that, these are the things that they need to do, I need to do them tenfold. I must walk the talk, and I must walk the talk in this example. Like I have to be the example so that I'm the example of what you can have. If you want what I have, then just do what I do. And this is what it is.
And Kara says, how can we see her upcoming cooking burgers? I'm guessing it's on your Facebook page.
Yep, on my Facebook page, my coaching page.
That sounds great. Well, it's such a pleasure getting to know you, and I'm so happy for your success.
Yeah, thank you.
You're so welcome. And thanks all of you for watching another episode of Chef AJ Live. Please come back tomorrow. Again, it's 2 p.m. all week because of the GI Health Summit. My guest is Dan Buettner, who has a new book called The Blue Zones Challenge. Continued success, Rachel.
Thank you.